Right then, hello everyone and welcome to my review of The Host. Now, for those who don't know, The Host is basically a bit of a well, not even a Mickey take, a bit of a rip-off of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which was a fairly old film, and it was basically, they come down, the aliens come down, they like wipe humanity and take it over, and so it's still us, just not us sort of thing, so the aliens are inside us and look like us. That's the basic idea of it, and you know, it's a good premise. You can go pretty much wherever you like with it, and for this one, being seeing as it's wrote by Stephanie Meyer, it's obviously a teen romance thing, but not to say it isn't good, and it was good. I did enjoy it. However, obviously there are several things that could be better. For one, the start is very slow. You've got to really commit yourself to it. You can't just go in and then expect it to kick it off straight from the bat. It doesn't do that. You've got to wait a good 10-20 minutes before it gets anywhere, because the first bit is obviously the girl getting the thing implanted in her, and well, just like you see in the trailer really, and then from then on it's that the alien inside are trying to access all those memories. So it's very slow to start off with until she starts fighting back inside her head, and that's when obviously things pick up and everything starts rolling. But yeah, if you can forgive the slow 20 minutes at the start, then I promise you it will pick up and it does become a good film. Other than several other things, such as, and this was the thing that really drew away the realism from Hobbit, and for those of you thinking what's realistic about aliens invading Earth and taking over humanity, quite a lot, in all fairness. It's a pretty realistic premise, but there were stuff that took away from it, and the biggest one for me was the dialogue. The dialogue just was not up to scratch 50% of the time. Half the time, when the teen romance stuff was going on, it was very cheesy, it was very unrealistic, it just was stuff that you wouldn't really say in the situation. And the same goes for when she's talking in her head to the alien finger to take her over, because it's far too, you know, tame and stuff while she's talking to it. There's no like cussing or anything, there's no violence in her voice, there's no threats or anything. It is just very tame, like, ah, you are in my head, how dare you. It's pretty much that, just, yeah. So there's not really much of that, and then obviously as it goes on she starts to not hate the creature inside her anymore anyway, so that dies down. So, but for the first however long while she doesn't like it, it's very tame and not very realistic, and equally it's not very good dialogue when when stuff's going on. The dialogue was not very good. But yeah, the best part of this film though has to be said, and that is William Hurt as Jebediah, who is her uncle. He's your typical, you know, Central American, I suppose. He carries a gun, he's a badass. He made the film for me. He was a pretty badass character in it, and he was like the head of the resistance. I'm going to touch on that now actually as well. The resistance, it's just always described as like the human resistance. It wasn't a resistance as much, because there was no like fighting back at the aliens that you saw anyway. There was no like plotting, there was no terrorist attacks or anything on the aliens, none of that. They were just hiding out and living their life. So it's not really a resistance from that point of view. It is just a few survivors, refugees in all fairness, on their own planet, and that's the thing they keep touching on. You know, we've lost a war that never really happened, and now we're refugees on our own planet. So it's a very interesting thing to look at it, and it's, like I said, therefore it's not a resistance, and it's very interesting to see, you know, what does humanity do when the world's gone? Well, not there as anymore. We sort of regress but keep going, because we live like in the mountain, and well, it's no mountain, it's a cave in a mountain. We live in here, and we like grow crops and stuff, and that's the idea behind it, that even though all of that's going on outside, humanity is flourishing to a certain extent inside, which is good. You know, it's good to know that we survive to a certain degree, at least for however long, until they will eventually wipe us out. Because in reality, obviously being a film, you know for a fact humanity's got to have their little victory at some point. But in reality, I'm pretty sure we would have got wiped out pretty quickly. We would have put up a fight, humanity always does, but we would have died very, very quickly in all fairness. But not to say that the film, you know, doesn't show you that, because there is a certain sense of hopelessness at certain points in the film, which is, you know, it's good to see, it's good to have that sense of, you know, we're screwed. Simple as. but obviously, you know, that's how it goes. And it's a good film in all fairness, and I think you're not going to regret seeing it. I didn't. It's 2 hours of my life I don't regret spending in the movie theatre. But, you know, so yeah, I hope you like this review. And yeah, so you know, hope you've also enjoyed your Easter holidays, if you've actually watched this shortly after I've uploaded it. But yeah, anyway, this is Ollie Collie Reviews signing out, and I will see you on my next review, which I don't know what it's going to be about yet, but I'm sure I'll think of something. So yeah, thank you, and good night.